Schecter Talk Radio. You're in to all things music.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Hey everybody, welcome to Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network. Guys, it is number 11 in a series of Emerging Mondays on an ongoing series of amazing artists that are making serious inruns in this industry and that are either fledgling or already making their mark, if you will. As I said before in my other interviews, I'm paying homage to the city that I live in just because there's so much talent out here, so much unsung talent. And we're going to try to sing the praises of them as much as we can. And, I want to take a quick second before we start out by saying, I had a very difficult morning, as the rest of the nation has, with this tragedy in Las Vegas, and I was debating if I was going to cancel the broadcast today, but we chose to do the greater good and to put a smile on people's faces. So with that, I just want to send a prayer out to friends and family who are out in Las Vegas and those who are safe. And we got to move forward, man. We got to be happy. We got to be blessed. And, maybe one of these days peace will prevail. But right now we got to do the best we can to put our foot forward and to stay happy and stay peaceful. So with that said, guys, welcome to Jackie's Groove. Today, I'm proud to welcome with open arms and open ears a young brother I met, 9 years ago when he was in diapers. No, he wasn't. And, but the fact of the matter is he's a young man with an old soul. He is ridiculous when it comes to playing a thing called the guitar. So with that said, guys, everybody welcome with open arms and open ears to Jackie's Groove, Mr. Hunter Delbridge-Pea. Hunter, what's happening, brother?
I'm doing great, Jackie. Thank you.
Hey, man, you know what? It's all about you today, brother. It's all about what you're doing, how you're shaking up the industry itself, and you're really making some serious strides in here, in your young age, man. Tell the listeners out there, how young are you, my brother?
21. I just turned in May.
I got underwear older than that, man. So we're gonna talk about that. But we always say to the young listeners out there and the youngins out there playing, to know where you're gonna go in the future of this music industry, you have to understand where music comes from, where it starts from. I know your dad really well and so on, but I want the listeners out there to know what was coming through the speakers at the Pea household when you were growing up. What were your influences?
All Metallica. Tons of Metallica.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much almost every day. And then there was a couple, some Slipknot and Pantera mixed in, and some Ozzy Osbourne as well. When I first started playing guitar, it was mostly Ozzy and Metallica.
And was that something by choice, or did Dad have the reign over the speakers, or you were digging it at the young age? You understood it?
I found the Black Album when I was, I want to say 6. And I just burned that thing out, and I just wanted to listen to nothing but that, nothing but metal and all that. I didn't discover like Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd until I was in high school.
But your styles of playing, because you and I've played live before, and and we've also recorded together, but that's another story on Oprah. We won't get into that at all. But the bottom line is, I love your playing, man. But the fact is, you're not just a rock and roller per se, meaning metal rock. You've got a lot of different styles that that come through your fingers and so on. Are you, or do you feel that you're being stereotyped at a young age for being a headbanger, or have you proven to the industry, or do you want to start showing more people that you are prowess when it comes to acoustic playing, when it comes to some R&B and so on? Are you open to all the different genres of music that are out there right now?
Yeah, I love everything. If it sounds good, I like it. I don't really think I've been pigeonholed as a metal player. I mean, definitely when I was younger, but I think just gigging and playing shows, I think people see that, I have funk chops and I can play, R&B and different stuff like that. I used to go to a lot of blues jams and stuff like that too. So a lot of people actually know me from just, playing like blues and Southern rock,
right.
They play metal too.
And the thing I love about you and your whole vibe about playing is that at your young age, man, Dad, your right hand, had to be there with you on a lot of the clubs that we were playing in because, unfortunately, after 10 o'clock, they've got to exit you out. But luckily, we know the owners of the clubs, and we all said, this kid's not going to go anywhere. And even if Dad wasn't there, it would either be Sal or myself or Anthony or Ryan, and or Brennan as your elders, if you will. So you were able to hang out with us and to garner that information. And so, with that said, let me ask you this question, brother. We talked about earlier about Metallica and so on and so forth, but let's go to the guitar players. Who has been your main inspiration for guitar playing? Who have you styled yourself after, or who have you channeled into those fingers at times?
I'd say a lot of Zakk Wylde. Zakk Wylde, some Warren Haynes. Like when I discovered Warren Haynes, that did a lot for my guitar playing, because he's very vocal. He tries to think about the guitar like the human voice, and try to embody that in his play. So whenever I'm, writing a solo or something like that, or improvising, I'm trying just to think about that as much as I can whenever I'm playing. And Zakk Wylde for the shredding pentatonics.
Yeah, and I mentioned that because our mutual friend, Sal Spinelli, I interviewed twice, actually, on the second interview with this gentleman by the name of Richie Kotzen. Who's this amazing guitarist. And so I thought it would be apropos, Sal being like my younger brother and such a huge fan of his, I invited him down to the studio. He was beside himself. And then not only that was he beside himself, but I invited him into the room of the interview. And I also got him involved with, so he had a chance to sit with Richie, talk, and, shoot the shit with him itself. So with that said, if Jackie has the opportunity to bring down the young hunter on any type of a interview with somebody that's notable that you would like, who would you like to see me interview, and who would you like to hang out with, brother? Share with me on that.
Zakk Wylde or Sinister Gates.
Okay, cool. If you have an in-run to that situation, definitely reach out and let him know, man, that Jackie's Groove is ready to rock it with him, and
absolutely
put our best foot forward on that. Again, we state we're from the Temecula Valley. I'm an Orange County boy originally, but going on 11 years out here. Was really, really questionable to the talent in a small town. I don't know what's in the soil out here, man, but there's a lot of bad motherfuckers out here that can play their asses off.
It's in the water,
there's a lot of people who can. It's in the water, and then there's some people out here that haven't drinking the water, and meaning the fact that they're fledgling on that and so on. When you're playing around town, and we'll talk and pay homage to, our good friend and Mr. Larry Vinyard. I'm going to have Larry on the show, man, because Larry goes back. He's long in the tooth like I am. He's got a lot of great stories and so on. When you're playing with Larry, are you looking at Larry? And by the way, the listeners out there, Larry's a great drummer. He plays everything. And so when you're playing with Mr. Vinyard, are you looking at him as a second dad or a brother in arms of playing music? How do you look at Larry when you're on stage?
Oh, he's a brother in arms, man, without a doubt. I only got one dad, my dad's been my rock and my biggest support, Absolutely. My mom too, I've been blessed with amazing parents that support what I do. And it's great to have musical brothers that, lift you up and give you an honest ear for everything, like Larry, I know no matter what I show him, he's not going to bullshit me. He's going to be like, hey, that sounds good, or we could tweak that there,
Absolutely. And I say that, little brother, because I had a bunch of Jackies growing up. Meaning the fact I had a bunch of people that believed in my playing. Were putting their best foot forward and paying it forward, you will. And I'm trying to repay that industry, as I said before, without being redundant. When Florentino, the CEO of this network, and Paul, the COO, both came to me with this idea of Emerging Mondays, I wasn't too hip on it. Not for the fact that I'm above and beyond that, but to reiterate the fact that a lot of young guys, young girls in this industry think the shit doesn't stink. And they haven't, really been bruised, been cut up, have been roadworthy for the lack of. But the fact is, I'm enjoying this sequence and this series so much that every Monday I look forward to doing this, man. And that's why it's we're introducing the new segment of artists out there. But you're coming into a weird situation, brother, because you're categorized as the millennial. And the fact is, somebody who never paid for music, unlike Dad, unlike me, and so on. Dad's taught you a lot, but do you understand the music business, how it was? Forget about how it was 10 years ago, how it was a year ago. Do you understand that? I mean, you've been around it long enough. You were around when Dad opened up a CD, opened up a 33, and had liner notes and so on. Do you, in your young age, and like Dave Grohl said from the Foo Fighters, that he believes firmly that in the next 3 years, there will be record stores again. I like to believe there's going to be, especially in Japan when there's 34 viable Tower Records moving. But in America, we look at music, we don't value music as they do abroad. So with
You're
that said,
right there.
are you skeptical in your age? Are you optimistic or are you pessimistic about the business as it sits right now?
I'm optimistic. I mean, with everything going on with the internet and YouTube and, people being able to make music, from their laptops and put it on the internet without needing a label or, spend a bunch of money at going to a recording studio. I mean, for a lot of people, that's been a saving grace, just because some people just don't have the budget. It's a great way to kind of cultivate your own skill. Like, that's what I've been using it for. I went out and got an interface and I was like, I'm going to figure out how to record. Bought some books and went for that, know?
And that's why I'm proud of you, brother, because I've always said this about you. Caprice has always said this about you, my wife. She just digs on the fact that you're not afraid. You're not docile, even though you can be quiet at times. But and you're willing to go out and get doors slammed in your face. You're willing to go out and get cut up, beat up, bruised, to learn the industry itself. On the positive tip of what you're doing, but what is it about the industry at your age right now that kind of gives you a furrowed brow, that kind of makes your smile turn upside down and you just don't like it? And what don't you like? Share with us. And how do you want to change that in your own world?
It's a good question. I know I hear a lot of negative things about some of these some of these different services like Spotify and Pandora. How artists aren't really getting a reasonable, basically not really getting any money. I mean, you're talking about earlier how like part of like the millennial thing, but I mean, unlike some people that are my age, I went out and bought CDs. I go out and buy Justice for All, going to record stores and flipping through and seeing what they had that was used, buying greatest hit CDs and stuff like that. I even had cassette at one point.
Let's see, now you're breaking it because I did this great show with Michael Paulo and the Temecula, was it the Wine and Cheese Festival? Excuse me, the Wine and Jazz Festival. And I had a T-shirt on that had just a succession of cassettes stacked on top of each other.
That's
and
badass,
one
dude.
of the kids in the crowd, but the thing is, there was a kid there that didn't know what those were.
No way,
but,
really? Man.
Yeah,
sad.
Exactly. Well, it is sad. The fact is, let's think for a second. A gentleman by the name of Paul McCartney. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking about when he did this thing with Jay-Z. Excuse me, with Kanye.
Oh yeah.
And Caprice, who's a makeup artist. She is around a lot of young girls, and it blows her out of the water because they didn't know who Paul McCartney was.
Oh, jeez.
And some even went as far as saying, "How nice." I'm paraphrasing that that Kanye would take the time to further this old man's career. And I'm like, are you? And I'm not making this shit up.
What are they smoking, man?
Well, sure with it, but I just don't. But believe it or not, I mean, you are fortunate. I am fortunate. We're fortunate that we were raised by parents who understood music. Now, I am the only musician in my family, but I come from a quote-unquote musical family that had music 24/7 playing. So with that said, and I know as much as John, your father, loves music, did Dad, and I say this with tongue in cheek, did Dad drag you around like a caveman to different shows and so on and so forth, or were you dragging Dad around to get you into places for you can see live music?
I think we were dragging each other around, like there'd be something that he really wanted to go to that I was just kind of like, but we'd go to it. I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I went,
Mm-hmm.
It's a back and forth thing. We like going to check out different, music and see other people play, it's good stuff.
Hey, did you take Dad to NAMM?
Yes.
I know I saw you, but I didn't see Dad.
Oh yeah. No, our favorite thing to go do at NAMM is the Schecter party on Saturday. If we don't do that, man. It's like he'd be mad at me. Like the last two times we went, we saw Zach Sabbath, and it was just phenomenal. That's why I did the Sabbath cover, because seeing those songs performed live is just
right
so powerful.
And I say that going back to the young age because again, I'm in my late 50s. Dad is in that that area coming up to that the big 50.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, when I go to the shows, I mean, this will be my 28th trip to NAMM this coming January. I missed last year because of my surgery. I will not miss it this year. But the thing is, I'm looking at the younger girls that I used to hold in my arms as babies. And now they're grown up. Like Capri says, I don't know why you're freaking out. I said, because I'm freaking out because look at how gorgeous they are. And I don't want anybody looking at them, even though they're not my own blood. But the fact of the matter is they grew up with famous parents that were deep into it. And I think it's great. And the reason why I brought up this about you and Dad hanging out is because a lot of my good friends, Wilfredo Reyes Jr., the percussionist with Chicago and Santana, and Stevie Winwood, his daughter, Liliana, who is a great percussionist, and she's also a vocalist with George Benson. But every year they go out and they spend time, every year is tradition, they go to NAMM. And I hope you and Dad continue on with this. Until Dad, you have to drag Dad around in a wheelchair. But, just keep that thing going on where, it stays a tradition. And, and it's funny because, because these, my friends, they're father and daughters, they go out there and they don't go around anybody else. It's just something that, dad and daughter does or dad and son does. And I think it's a great situation because, as I said before, to know where you're going in music, you have to understand where music comes from and what it's all about. And we're going to pick that up on the next segment, boy. We're going to talk about the situations where, what it is that you feel that you can do to stay relevant and how, most importantly, to monetize what you're doing. And as I said all the time, too, people, stop stealing fucking music. I don't go into your office and sit on top of your desk and piss on your monitor. Don't take away what our livelihood is. So with that said, guys, coming out of segment number 1, going to segment number 2 with my in-studio guest, Mr. Hunter Delbridge-Pea. This is Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network. You're into all things music. Guys, don't go anywhere. Segment number 2 is coming right around the corner after this short break. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
The Moyer Entertainment Group, in conjunction with Dario, Radio Airplay, and Looploft, is keeping music in our local schools and presenting local talent to the world through the Temecula Valley Music Awards. Submissions for entry into the TVMA 2017 season are now open in all genres, including a youth category for artists under 18 for the October 7th Star-Studded Awards Show, where 100% of the proceeds go towards supporting local music education in the Temecula Valley. Details, tvmawards.org.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EnterTalkRadio.com.
Todd Zuckerman from the rock band Styx, and you're listening to my pal Jackie Bertoni on Jackie's Groove. Groove on, motherfuckers.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Hey guys, welcome back to Jackie's Groove. This is, you know who? Jackie Bertoni, and the station bringing you this is Intertalk Radio Network. My God, this coffee I have has got crack in it. I know it does. Hey guys, before we get moving any further here, I want to tell you guys, if you don't get a chance to listen to our shows live, do yourselves a favor and do us a big favor. Go on to iTunes or Google and download our easy-to-use and easy-to-navigate free application, 2 words, called Intertalk, the first one, and Radio the second. You can take Jackie's Groove and the plethora of other shows that we have on our amazing network on the go with you when you can't listen to us live. So with that said, let's get back to the crux of things. Hunter Delbridge-Pea is on the line right now. My brother, let me tell you, this 21-year-old man plays it like an old fucker, and I mean that as an absolute confidence. But Hunter, do me a favor. That song we just came in with, the Adele tune, who is that, man? Give me the backlog on that song. Who is that? Tell me about that.
That song, that's me on guitar and bass, and then I had my buddy Brandon Scott play drums on that, and then fronting it is Anastasia. She's this local singer I met when I was interning over at a studio in Murrieta, and we just kind of kept in contact, like, hey, let's cover a song together. So I've always been a big fan of her, so I was like, hey, let's
How did I not meet this girl? How did I not meet her? Or have I met her before?
I don't know.
Has she come out to... Yeah, the Crush and Brew and so on and so forth. I mean, I'd love to get her on the show. Hey, Paulie, will you do me a favor? Can you throw a little bit more of that on? I want to hear some of that. I had no idea that was Hunter. If you got that within arm's reach, can you pop that on a little bit more?
The one we just played?
Yeah, please.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I love that sound.
Oh, thank you, man.
Guys, check it out. Check it out. Yeah, man. Very, very, very cool. So what made you choose that song, brother? I mean, obviously it's an iconic tune that's out there, but what made you go to Adele, and what made you play that, and share with the listeners out there, what did you play on that? Was it only electric, or was it an acoustic blend? Share with us on that. What was your motivation?
See, you layered in some acoustic in the background, and then there's a lot of electrics in the front. When I first recorded this one, I kind of was... when I first started this, I was very inexperienced in recording, so I had like 20 tracks of guitar, like a typical guitar player recording would do, and then I went through and I just got rid of a lot of different things, and I had this one section in the middle where it got all like heavy and like death metal, and I was like, that's not doing anything for a song, so I had to cut that out, you know. And this, what I like about this song the most out of all the ones I've covered so far is this one really challenged me as far as like being objective to my playing and how everything's sounding all together, you know. If I could change one thing, I'd change that snare drum, you know. But
where did you track this? Where was this track? Did you track this over at Nikki's place or no?
No, this is I did the drums in my friend's 2-story house. He has high ceilings over there, so we went over there and hooked up some microphones, and everything else I just recorded in my front room.
And see, that is so cool. And the reason why I kind of set you up on that is I interviewed last week with Lee Loughnane. Name may not mean anything to you, Hunter, but he's the co-founder of a group called Chicago. And so what blows me out of the water with that, they're celebrating 50 years this year. 50 years. Not a year has gone by that they haven't toured. Every year they tour, and they're touring about 180 to 220 days out of the year. So it's called gainfully employed, and they're selling out major venues. We're not talking 500-seat place. We're talking, anywhere between 6,000 up to 20,000. And then they're on the major tour with Earth, Wind & Fire. But the point I'm bringing on with the situation is that their last album, their current album, is called Now, N-O-W. And I was under the understanding, because it's all over YouTube, where the horn section actually recorded in hotel rooms, hotel suites.
That's
and then
insane.
To find out from Lee, but check this out, Hunter. The whole album was recorded in hotel suites on the road. And check this out, also on the Prevost tour buses. So what that means is that you guys can, for the guys out there itself, I was not really into Pro Tools when I started getting trained on it and so on. Of course, now I'm a slave to it because that's what the labels want, and you're getting the same sound. But the thing is, people are trying to turn back time and reverse the clock. And what I mean by that is my dear friends, the group called Styx. They released their first album 3 months ago, the first album in 14 years. And check this out, Hunter. They recorded it at Blackbird Studios in Nashville. The Blackbird is known for over $1 million. Yeah, just in microphones alone.
Beautiful facility.
And they did it 100% analog, not one digital fucking click in the whole situation. In fact, the guitar player, Tommy Shaw, and also JY, they broke out their old guitars. Ricky Peterson the bass player broke out his, Ricky Phillips brought out his P bass to get that sound. Michael McDonald, me as close as I am with Michael. Michael's new album called Open Wide, Wide Open. I take that back. I'm having dyslexic day to day. But again, he's releasing the album also on 33. And recorded 100% analog. I mean, there's so many plugins out there, Hunter, that you can take a digital recording and make it sound analog. Now, with that situation, I know when I worked with you a couple of years ago with John out in was it Studio One, Record One? What was the name of the place that we did it in San Diego?
I think it was Studio West in Rancho Bernardo.
Yeah, Studio West.
Yeah.
Yes, the thing about that is now, I guess my question to you, you haven't been slighted or tainted yet in your young age, but are you comfortable in a big room? I mean, I was there, I watched, you look like an old boy there, or are you just happy to be sitting in your home shredding in the house?
I love both of them. I love both of them. I love just being able to, work at home, but I also love going to a beautiful studio and appreciating the gear they have there and using that. I mean, these big studios, they have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment that I'll never be able to have at my fingertips. So it's like, kid going into a candy store, like, oh, look at the Pultex. I want to turn the knobs on them,
Yeah. It's so funny that you said the word design. I'm sure Paul's kind of laughing in the background also. We did an interview. We actually did many interviews with Al Di Meola.
Love Al.
Here's the most
so amazing.
In our first interview, in fact, Paul was cracking up because Al I said something about shredding, and I quote him, "What the fuck is shredding?" Al said. He says all the kids use nowadays is the word shredding, and Al said if that was the case, then I was the master of all shredders, because the fact is the matter is, he goes, I don't know what the word shredding is. I just call it plain precise and playing fast, and playing prolific, of course. So with that said itself, I mean, I listen to you shredding, if you will, but your shredding doesn't sound like somebody's, fingers are caught in the fretboard. So when you're practicing, when you're sitting down, how many hours a week, how many hours a day are you woodshedding? Are you perfecting and honing your craft?
An hour to an hour and a half a day. And then I spend the rest of it recording, mixing, and doing other stuff like that. I've recently been trying to focus more on efficiency, what my right hand's doing. I've always kind of had, some love in my left hand, but just little things like the workout in my right, how far to move the pick, little stuff like that. You got to practice it super slow though, like uncomfortably slow.
But, and I say this because our dear friend Brendan Kilpatrick, who I had on the show, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? And Brendan thought he was a young guy, and he went out, and long story short, he broke his hand. And which when he was playing football, I think he was doing, whatever it was. But the thing I love about, Midnight Satellites and or Master Sprint and the Shredders, the first call, the first choice wasn't even a thought. It was right away bring in Hunter. Now that, my friend, was, you're playing in clubs that require to be 21, and you're now at that young age. I think you were 19 when you started playing with them. How much of a learning curve and how good was that to you to be playing in a club with these great musicians?
It was exponential. It was really huge, actually, because it was the first time I had to learn, 4 hours of music, and, it playing with a full band too. I don't think at that point I was playing in a full band doing any cover gigs like that. I think I was just doing nothing but acoustic. Right. So it was really good for me to get out and do that. Plus playing the winery stuff is a lot of fun, Can't beat it. It's good stuff.
Question, guitar playing wise, preference electric or acoustic? Unfair
electric.
Question. Give me a fair answer. By
Electric.
all means, right? Yeah,
without a doubt. I mean, I love acoustic guitar. I like practicing on it because, there's no forgiveness, but I love electric so much, like tearing into an amp full at, is it 12, just shake the walls. Can't do that with acoustic.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question. So in our area, our little town, I say little town, it's a big town that we live in. You worked with everybody itself. Is there anybody out there that you haven't worked with that you really want to work with? Give a little shout out to that person. Maybe that person, he or she, is listening right now.
Well, I know Sal and I are going to be working on a song together really soon. So shout out to Sal Spinelli.
Yeah, Sal doesn't count though. Sal, that boy's been jumped in. No. I mean, is there other players out there that you've kind of snuck out with Dad or hanging out at clubs that you go, I really like to sit there and lend my guitar work, or you pretty much play with everybody in town that you want to play with for right now?
Well, as you know, we have a couple musical brothers that moved out to Vegas. I'd love to do a song with Brett and Anthony and Jace. Do something with them over there. Just because they're not here anymore, and they're like my musical brothers. I've always wanted to do a song with them.
And by the way, they're safe, just so you know. Okay. From the tragedy that happened last night. So I just want to let you know the feed in that Anthony's fine. Brett is in Arizona, and Jace is fine also. So. With that said, man, if everybody can just wake up, drop the guns, and pick up a amplifier and turn on the volume of music, it would be that much more of a beautiful place to live in. The old term, music calms a savage beast. And so with that said, not saying that you're a savage beast, my brother, but when you sit down, and I've got to ask you this question. I don't know if I'm stepping out of line, but I'm going to say it anyways. A girl that I love and I think is adorable was your girl by the name of Chloe. Mm-hmm. Now, are you and Chloe still together? I don't know this.
No.
Okay. I saw how you stopped that. The reason why I asked that is because some of the greatest music that's been written in history has been written because of ill fate, bad situations with relationships, and so on. No great story ever started out as, "Hey, man, I had the best salad." Never starts out that way. But when you guys were together and through your trials and tribs and your angst and so on, was that a motivation for you to write your own music? Love or the lack thereof?
No, not really. I don't think she really had anything to do with like my motivation. It was mostly like, that was mostly just me loving music. I will say this though, after we split, that definitely did give me some good ideas. Definitely to write some different tunes. And work on different songs, and think about how I could approach things differently as a player and as an engineer, and like the YouTube filming aspect of things too. It definitely made me grow, which I'm grateful for. I don't think I would have pushed myself to do that if I was still with her, because there's like a level of comfortability. Don't want that. Go right into the fire.
Well, it could, again, relationships, male or female, can either be a benefit or be a deterrent, obviously. And you have to sit
Absolutely.
there and pick and choose what you want to deal with. So let's go back for a second here. Let's go back to the family life for a quick second. As much as and as close as you are with Pop, I mean, I can't imagine. No, I love your dad and Mama also in the family. Have you taken the time, and I don't want to sound goofy or in Hallmark moment right now, but have you ever written anything for Mom and Dad?
Actually, I did cover a song for my mom. She's been wanting me to cover this Terry Reid song for a while now, and I finally put it together, and I put it on YouTube. And she was kind of beside herself because a couple days after I put up on YouTube, I get a phone call, and it's this guy with this thick British accent, and it was the guy whose song it was. It was Terry Reid on the other line. He was like, liked what I did with the song. Yeah, I was like, I was shitting a brick. I was like, I couldn't believe it, you know. I'm all driving from from Old Town up back home, and I'm like in that 15 traffic on 3 o'clock on a Saturday. How hellish it is. Of course. You know, I'm stuck in that, and I'm just like chatting with this dude. I'm just like, I can't wait to call my mom and be like, dude, you're never gonna know what just happened.
And see, and those are those aha moments. I mean, talking about the aforementioned band Midnight Satellites, or Masters Playing the Shredders. They got a great message from a gentleman that we lost last year, my dear friend, Mr. Alphonse Mouzon. And Alphonse actually posted on, I think it was Facebook. No, actually it was on YouTube by saying Mind Transplant, a song that Anthony Raya and myself would start the whole thing on a drum and percussion solo. We did this after the House of Blues, and we got that gig done. He called and said, he wrote on their YouTube, but wow, I've never heard my song played so amazingly. And those are the kind of things you take home with you, like, wow, someone is actually listening and respecting what we're doing. And when we come back on the last segment, we're going to talk more about not so much motivation itself, but I want to find out where Hunter wants to be in a segment of the next 5 years, next 10 years, and so on. So bring out that crystal ball that you have in the closet, and let's kind of see where we're going to go with the situation. And we're going to talk all about everything that's got to do with Hunter, how to get a hold of him, how to purchase his music, and how, to do the greater good and put the best foot forward for this young man and everything he's doing in the music business and what the music business can be doing for him. So with that said, guys, don't go anywhere. I'm just looking at my list of things here itself to talk to a 21-year-old man and his relevance in the industry. So with that said, guys, pick yourself up, go down, get another beverage. And when we come back, we're going to finish up the last hour, the final segment on Jackie's Groove. Again, this is Jackie Bertoni, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network, into all things music, and my in-studio guest on Emerging Mondays, number 11, Mr. Hunter Delbridge-Pea. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back after the short bridge. No more coffee, Jackie. And we'll be right back after the short break. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver. in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Michael McDonald, and you're listening to my good buddy Jackie Bertoni on Jackie's Groove.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Guys, we're back. Welcome. It's Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, about your Talk Radio Network and all things music. Segment final hour, segment 3 with my in-studio guest, Hunter Delbridge-Pea. Hey, Hunter, before I get going here, let me do a little business real quick for our sponsors. I want to say thank you, and first and foremost, to our largest sponsor, called Pitbull Audio. Calvin Lee and the crazy crew over there who puts their best foot forward for Talk Radio. Thank you, gentlemen. You can reach them at pitbullaudio.com, where they just want you to play it loud. People I'm real biased to, Vater Drumsticks, VATER.com, who's been supplying me with my drumsticks for the past 25 years. Also, Sabian Cymbals, SABIAN.com, who's been providing me with the splash and crash of all the noisemakers in the way of cymbals for the past 24 years. And, of course, people that I'm really, really biased to, of course, LP Music. That's lpmusic.com, supplying me with my percussion rig for 28 years, and DW Drums Drum Workshop. Thank you guys for being part of this whole consortium called Jackie's Groove Talk Radio. And speaking of the group of people that keep these lights on, I'm going to bring online right now. It's a little shtick that we've been doing all these years, going on 2 years, and the audience seems to like it, and it gives me a chance to breathe. So with that said, do me a favor, Hunter, say hi to the CEO of our network, Florentino Buenaventura. Florentino, say hi to the young man called Hunter Pea, please.
Hey, Hunter, what's going on, man?
I'm doing great, man. Nice to hear from you, Florentino.
Yeah, definitely, brother. Nice to hear from you. It's been a good interview. I've been listening in, and definitely, man. But that does not kill. How's that line to go again? That does not kill us makes us stronger. So
absolutely.
So, man, you are definitely one of the up and coming guitar players, from what I hear. That's I don't know. Talking to Paul though, he thinks, because he's a guitar player, that the world revolves around guitar players. Man, do you think that's the case? I'm just joking.
100%. That's an accurate statement, Paul.
Yeah.
Tina was taking a 360 picture of our new lobby that we redecorated yesterday, and he was saying, I should learn to take 360 photos better. And I said, you just need to get a guitarist in there, stand there in the center of the room with a phone, and let the world revolve around him.
That was a good one from Paul. So, but yeah, man, definitely great talent, brother, and we definitely appreciate you coming on board here, and and the other music. In fact, we have a lot in common. When me and Paul had a band, we did a cover of that Cure song, by the way, Jackie. I'm going to give you a hard time about that. Actually, it was Adele. That version was Adele, but Cure was the original one.
Yeah.
So,
it's an integration album. Great album, dude.
Yeah, it is definitely. And they got a lot of tracks that I think people are starting to recognize and wake up to.
There's so many. There's so many.
They had that weird gothic flavor back in the day, but definitely adds to the flavor today. Speaking of that, not to bring it downer, man, but I want to give a shout out to all the people that are in Las Vegas. I've got 2 family members that live there. Fortunately, neither one of them were at the concert. But Jackie, I don't know if you were aware of this, but Rich was on the throne playing drums while the gunshots were happening, man. So our
yeah, and that's Rich Redmond, the guys. That's one of our friends, our mutual friends at the studio.
Actually, he's one of our show hosts.
The drummer for Jason Aldean. Yeah,
he's one of our show hosts.
New host.
Yeah, new host.
Yeah.
So he was there.
I didn't reach out to him yet. I don't know if it was apropos. I said hi to everybody else. And while we're on the line, did you talk to our Richard? Did you talk to Richard? Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, I don't think they were around that. It was a country music festival. It's just, usually crazy because it's not necessarily known for that kind of stuff. But, it just goes to show you that, this day and age, you can't just make predetermined judgments on things. Just life is too short. You got to go out and enjoy it and make the most out of it. And, it's a rough thing.
Did you talk to Rich yet or no?
Rich Redmond. I put a post up on. He said they were okay. So I thank God. But we haven't physically talked yet. We were supposed to do this thing here. He'll be in town on Saturday, so hopefully we'll connect up with him there and say some prayers.
When I get off there. Yeah, I'll call him when I get off the air and just I'll best foot forward to it. So, all right, man, enough of your rambling. Do the business what you're hired for, brother.
Yes,
sell this boy.
Well,
sell
the first business is before we sell him, we got to sell you in the show that you got coming up, man. Got to make sure we can let people know.
Okay.
This coming the 14th of October, Jackie presents Feast and Fusion in association with our good friends over at the Back Bay Bistro on Newport Beach. A great event. Which will be starring Cab, which features Bunny Brunell as the leader and the ringmaster of this crazy band of players. Virgil Donati on drums, Julian Coriel on guitar, Mitch Foreman, who we had on last week with Jackie on Friday, which you guys need to tune into that. And, of course, Kayleen Peoples, who plays flute and vocals. It's going to be an amazing event.
Yeah, man.
And Bunny Brunell's going to be cooking. He's going to be cooking up for everybody an amazing collection of South of France dishes, and it's going to be just a phenomenal night. Red carpet, they get to be in front of the photogs and all the press and all that fun stuff. So come on out, guys.
Yeah, and you want to go to backbaybistro.com or
no, not Back Bay Bistro, brother.
Tickets?
They don't have a Back Bay Bistro. It's the NewportDunes.com.
Okay, thank you very much for correcting me on that.
Yeah, the Back Bay Bistro's in the Newport. It's
going to be a sellout.
Yes, it is.
It's going to be a sellout, man. And but if you guys get a chance, don't wait. Get those tickets. It's something to get a chance to not only hear an amazing evening of fusion music, but also an amazing evening of a fusion of Bunny's cooking from France.
Yeah,
and I can only imagine. So it's going to be just a great hang. So I'll back out. Go ahead, Florentino. I'll let you do the rest of here.
Yeah. Well, hey, man. So as we did our shameless plugging here, Hunter, let's plug you a little bit, man, brother. Where can we find out more about you?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Hunter Havoc, HAVOKK, Hunter Havoc on YouTube and all that. And then I want to give a quick shout out. I've been drinking the same coffee Jackie's been drinking, man. I'd like to give a shout out to Schecter Guitar Research and my boys over at GHS Strings for all their love and support they've been giving me through the years. Awesome companies. And then that's pretty much it.
Well, hey, man, we got another function for you guys to attend as well. I will have more details, but the Wednesday before NAMM opens, we're slated to have a pretty cool thing. So you got to come out to our festivities. We'll have a few. We can't give any details out just yet, but we will have some fairly heavyweight notables up there with us, and it's actually a very special occasion. So we'll tell more about it as we move along. But you, sir, are definitely invited.
Thank you so much, Florentino.
Cool.
All right. Well, take it away, Mr. Jackie Bertoni.
We'll get back at it. Hold on for a second. Hey, Cappy, guess who's on the line right now? Mr. Hunter Pea. Say hi.
Hi, Hunter.
Cappy.
How are you, honey?
I'm good. Hi, Cappy. How are you?
I haven't seen you in a while, sweetheart.
It's been too long. We need to get together.
I know, we do.
We need our own Cappy show, man. That's all I got to say. We need our own Cappy show.
Don't even start with the old Cappy show.
Amen to that.
It's because I'm more fun.
Oh,
snap!
All right, babies, we're great. Let's get back to what we're talking about. The gentleman we're talking on the phone right now is
awesome.
Mr. Hunter Delbridge-Pea. Let's get back to it. Thanks, Flo. We'll talk to you later on, brother boy. Hey, Hunter, let me ask you this question, brother, and I ask all the notables. You've been, again, they say, what have you been doing in your life? You're only 21 years old. You haven't had a life yet, but you have a whole life ahead of you. And with the fact of the matter, you being a consummate guitar player, again, a young man and an old soul. But I asked this question, and I love this question. It's a question from Cappy. If Hunter, at the age of 21, didn't have music in his life, wasn't playing music, wasn't involved with music, period. Now, I know Dad has a very successful plumbing company, air conditioning, et cetera, et cetera. What would Hunter be doing if there was no music in your life?
That's a hard thing for me to envision.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing it anyways, but probably bow hunting. And
why?
I just like knowing where my meat comes from. There's it seems like they with packaged meat they put a lot of hormones and stuff like that in, and I just don't like how that is. And it's bad for your health, and I'd like to be responsible for my food. Yeah,
man. And I'm looking at just a bunch of notes. I want to sit here and I want to ask you this question also. Think about this for a second. When someone comes out to see Hunter, now if you're coming out as a solo performer, if you're coming out as a sideman and so on, when you go to see Santana, when you go to see Chicago, when you go to see Styx, you're not only going to see the lead singer, you're going to see the drummer because it's a favorite. You're going to go see the guitar player, the bass player. So you as a side person, you're out there and you're getting up on stage. Let's take, for instance, the biggest show, one of the shows you've done is, of course, the House of Blues in San Diego. When you're up there and you're killing it and the crowd is going crazy and you're coming up and you're doing the best you possibly can, you're giving it your 100%. What is it that you want the audience to take away home with them with your performance? What do you want them to feel?
Feel good about themselves, get their mind off of whatever their mind may be on that's not good for them. That's why I go to shows. I go see people play to forget about, whatever shit I'm bringing, with me, just drop it all out there and have a good time. It's very therapeutic, a live performance. Some of the greatest shows I've ever seen, like Metallica and Slipknot, and those things have stuck with me because it's such a positive experience, and you feel this camaraderie between you and other fans being there. So whenever I'm up on stage performing, I want to make sure I'm giving that to people.
We talked about how the music's ever changed, but there's one thing that doesn't change, Hunter, and that's the hang between brothers and sisters that are on tour. The best thing about the music business, as I said over and over again, there's nothing glamorous of what you and I do. The glamour starts when the lights go up and when that first note of music that's hit. But the cool thing about it, man, is that hang during the day, a thing called sound check, a thing just sitting around bullshitting with your brothers and sisters and talking about this, that, and the other, and so on. Is that something, I know, I'm going to ask a redundant question because I know how you are. You're very talkative. You're very, very personable. But when you're doing situations like that itself, are you looking forward to your first major tour? Does that excite you? Does that scare you? Share with me.
I'm eager. I can't wait for that opportunity. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I got a taste of touring, a couple years ago, playing like a couple weeks in the Warped Tour, and then I flew over and did some stuff in the Philippines, and that was a fantastic experience, and I loved it, every bit of it. It kind of got addicting, for the little time I did it, and now it's like I want to get back out there and do it, So hopefully I can grow whatever I'm doing here on my YouTube channel to the point where I can to get out and do it, under that.
And Hunter, share your YouTube channel again.
My YouTube channel is Hunter Havoc. HAVO.
So it is that. So it's perfect. And you talked about that in the Philippines. That's when you went with Nick Syward. You guys took off, and what was the name of the girl that you went out there with?
It was with Macy Kate and Kurt Hugo Schneider.
Macy Kate. Mm-hmm. Right. Now, I'll never forget that, man, because that, again, I work with a lot of Filipino entertainers. That is a very, very appreciable audience. They basically, they hang on everything you do. Something that, we talk about, and going back, talking about these great music things. I'm going to jump forward here. We're talking about your dad and myself and the music that we love and so on, the music you've been exposed to. But the cool thing about this, Hunter, is that you can go to these big shows. I'm going to get referring back to Earth, Wind, and Fire and the Styx and the REO Speedwagon and so on. The cool thing about this, Hunter, is because when you go to these shows now, there's now 3 generations of ages, 3 generations of people there. You've got people like your dad and myself, our age. Then you have their kids. You got the Hunters. And then in some cases, you even have Hunters' kids. So you have 3 generations of great music. And the reason why the music is great, because it's real music, brother. It's real musicians kicking ass, giving their all. And when I interviewed Lee Loughnane from Chicago, celebrating 50 years, as I said, the first thing that came out of my mouth, Hunter, to him was, why? And here's a man that is financially set the rest of his life. At 71 years old, he walks on stage like he did back in 1967. And the response from Lee and the response from all the heavy-duty guys out there that are multimillionaires that don't have to work anymore is because they love to play music. They get that same feeling before they walk on stage today as they did on the first time they walked on stage. And it's that feeling of adulation, it's that feeling of the quintessential butterflies. Now, with that said, when you walk on stage, when those lights go up, do you still get that little bit of angst, a little bit of nervousness before that first note is strummed?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you could prepare as much as you want for a show, but at the end of the day, it's a live show. That's what my dad always tells me. And he's so right, 100%, you know, but hours and hours and hours into it. And you'll be really well rehearsed for it, but, you know, it's live, you know.
Let me ask you this question. I ask this with a lot of people. I don't care what the age is. When you're on stage, since so many people are using in-ear monitors, I'm curious to find out at your young age, do you like in-ear monitors, or are you still a slave to that beautiful thing called the wedge?
I love both of them. I love both. I like. It depends on how the band's set up. If a band has a lot of backing tracks and stuff like that, I prefer working with in-ear monitors. You know, but if we don't need in-ears, I like a wedge. But you know, I always wear hearing protection. You got to protect your investments. You know, that's only how are you supposed to play if you can't hear? You know.
You know, and I want you to share this real quick, actually, man. There's that light flashing itself. So I wanted to do this. When you got your first endorsement from Schecter itself, was that probably one of the best feelings that somebody actually recognized you for your talent? Go ahead and say hi to the boys one more time out there.
What's up, Schecter? I want to give a shout out to Michael Ciervolo and Anthony Love and all the awesome people over at Schecter. Great people. Yeah, it was honestly, it was a great feeling. You know, to have a company like that, you know, recognize me as a player and to support me unconditionally. I mean, I have nothing but love for them over there. You know, also make sure to go check out Beauty and Chaos on Instagram. It's my buddy Mike's music page. He's getting ready to release a new album real quick. So if you like the Cure stuff, you're definitely going to like what he does.
Perfect. Hey, brother, as soon as, depending on Paul's workload, as soon as this show is over with, we'll archive it. We'll send you the link. And we want you to put this up on all of your social media also to get more traction with that. So with that said, guys, let everybody say thank you to Hunter Delbridge-Pea for joining Jackie's Groove. Guys, this is Jackie Bertoni, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network here, into all things music. As I finish with all my broadcasts by saying, peace through music. Little brother, I love you, man. I'll see you soon. It's toss back a nice Diet Coke and we'll get together real soon. Love you, man.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.